In the last 50 years, looking at successful people whose lives are going better and better, and unsuccessful people whose lives have flattened out, they find that successful people have one quality: they're always taking action. They're always doing more things. So if you hear something good tonight, be sure to take action on it. And take action as fast as you can, because that soon becomes a habit. And when you develop the habit of action orientation, you will accomplish more in the next 2 or 3 years than the other person accomplishes in 10 or 20 years. Action orientation transforms your life. Well, what I learned from this law of cause and effect was this: thoughts are causes, and conditions, the conditions of your life, are the effects. Thoughts are causes, and conditions are effects. Your thinking creates your life. Now, this is the greatest thought in history. This is the great thought of all the religions and all philosophy and all psychology and all success, is that your thoughts create your life. That you can actually change your life by changing the thoughts that you think. Because your life always goes in the direction of your thinking. So here's the great rule for success. It is that you become what you think about most of the time. You become what you think about most of the time. So the question is, what do you think about most of the time? What do you think about most of the time? Well, in the last 25 years, big companies have spent many millions of dollars searching for the answer to this question. Several companies some years ago put together a pool of more than $20 million. And what they wanted to do was discover what top salespeople think about most of the time. Top business people, top entrepreneurs. Because if they were going to hire salespeople or business people, they wanted to have a profile that would help them make better hiring decisions. So they interviewed more than 350,000 people like you. And they would interview them every week for 6 weeks or 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. And once each week they would phone them up and they would say, "What are you thinking about right now?" And the person would say, "Well, I'm thinking about this," and they would write it down. 1 week later, they would call and say, "What are you thinking about right now?" They would do this every week for many months. And gradually, they began to see a profile. And they then took this group of people and they sliced them up into 10%. The bottom 10%, the next 10%, and finally the top 10%. They think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. Now you say, that's too simple. No, it's the key to success. So they looked at the way people in the top 10% think most of the time. And can you guess what the top people, the happiest, highest paid, most successful people think about most of the time? Can you guess? Is successful people think about what they want and how to get it. They think about their making more money and doubling their income. They think about health, and they think about their family. They think about their home. They think about their car. They think about what they want most of the time, and they think about how to get it. Now, I want to share with you a word which you already know, and this is the most important word for success. Are you ready? It's the word how. Okay. So from now on, whenever you have a goal, the only question you ask is how. Whenever you have a problem, the only question you ask is, how do I solve it? If you want to double your income, the only question you ask is, how do I double my income? So I want you to say the word. Say how. Now, say it again. How. Wonderful. From now on, whenever there's anything in your life that you want to change, the only question you ask is how. Because How is the question of the top 10%. How is the question of the self-responsible person. How is the question of the action-oriented person. The person who asks how is one of the top people in our society. Everyone works for and under the people who think in terms of how. Here's a good point. Every goal that you could ever have has already been achieved by someone. Every problem you could ever have has already been solved by someone. Every question you could ever ask has already been answered by someone. Your question is simply to ask how. How did others do it? And there's a rule in success that says success leaves tracks. In other words, there are tracks to any kind of success you want, and your job is to find the tracks and follow the tracks to double your income, to create a wonderful life. All the answers have been found. And nobody's better than you, nobody's smarter than you. If someone is doing better than you today, there's a simple explanation. They figured out how before you did. That's all. And here's another discovery. Anything anyone else has done, you can do as well. If they have done it, that means you can do it.